This is a tough one, folks. Yeah, the news of Michelle Trachtenberg passing, it's really shaken a lot of people up.
It's definitely a shock and just so sad. I mean, only 39, you know, and she had this energy about her, like, on screen, obviously.
Right, and off screen too, it seems like, from everything we're seeing.
Absolutely. And for anyone who's maybe not as familiar with her whole career, I guess,
Yeah.
Michelle Trachtenberg started so young, like way back on The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
She was known to Mecklenburg. So good even then. But then she became, I mean, truly a household name with those iconic roles like Dawn and Buffy, and of course Georgina in Gossip Girl. So we've got news articles, social media posts trying to make sense of all of this, what happened, and how everyone who knew her is remembering her.
It does seem like everything happened so fast. The New York Post, they broke the news yesterday, and they're reporting that Michelle was found unresponsive in her Manhattan apartment by her mother early Wednesday morning.
No.
And the location, too, it's another thing. One Columbus Place, it's, if you know New York, that's a pretty fancy building near Central Park. And the initial reports, they say natural causes, nothing suspicious. But there's also this mention of a recent liver transplant, which is,
Yeah, that definitely raises some questions.
it does.
Because a liver transplant, that's major surgery, and there are always risks, complications,
Right.
especially organ rejection, which,
Yeah.
while we obviously can't speculate on Michelle's case specifically.
Of course.
It's certainly something that could have been a factor here.
Yeah. It's important to wait for the official, the medical examiner's findings.
Absolutely.
But it does make you think about what she might have been, dealing with privately, especially considering some of her social media activity.
You're talking about when fans were kind of commenting on her appearance in some selfies, and she kind of pushed back.
Yeah, she said, "Explain to me how I look sick. Did you lose a calendar and not realize I'm not 14?"
Oh, wow.
Like you could just sense that frustration,
Yeah.
like pushing back against that constant.
Scrutiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, it's a good reminder that celebrities, no matter how successful, how carefree they might seem,
Right.
they're real people with real lives and struggles that we often don't see. And the outpouring of grief from her co-stars, it really underscores that.
It does, yeah.
Like Blake Lively's Instagram post, it was really moving.
Oh, so moving.
She talked about Michelle's personality, so vibrant, her loyalty, just how she could light up a room, and you could feel the genuine affection, the sense of loss, like real loss in her words.
And it wasn't just about Michelle's, on-screen presence. It was more than that.
Right.
Blake talked about her laugh, how infectious it was,
Yeah.
how she genuinely cared for people, the way she would, like, fight for the people she loved.
Yeah, it really paints a picture of someone who was, multidimensional. It wasn't just the character she played.
Exactly. Oh.
And then Ed Westwick, Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl,
Yeah.
he posted a tribute too. Really simple but powerful. Just a photo of Michelle as Georgina Sparks.
Oh, wow.
And just a short caption offering his condolences.
Even in Hollywood, which can be so chaotic and,
Right.
these tributes, they really show you those genuine bonds that people form when they work together like that. And you can't help but think about, the impact this loss is having on the people who knew her personally.
Absolutely. It's such a stark reminder that behind the glitz and the glamour, there are real friendships, deep connections, and the grief her co-stars are expressing. It speaks volumes about the impact she had on their lives.
It really does.
And then there's Rosie O'Donnell's comment. It's brief, but it adds another layer, She mentioned that Michelle had struggled in recent years.
Yeah.
Which raises some questions about what those closest to her knew,
Right. It's vague,
Mm-hmm.
but it does suggest maybe a deeper story there, something that maybe only her inner circle really knew about.
No.
And it also kind of makes you think about the complexities of fame.
Yeah.
You can be successful, even beloved, but still face, personal challenges that the public never sees.
It's true. We often only see a curated version of someone's life, especially now with social media.
Right.
We never know the full story, the battles they might be fighting privately.
Exactly. And in the wake of this, it's just a reminder to be kind, to remember that everyone, celebrity or not, is carrying their own
Burdens.
burdens.
Well said.
And speaking of, kind of behind the scenes stuff, it's worth noting that the news of Michelle's passing comes right as these rumors of a Buffy reboot are swirling around.
Oh, interesting.
It makes you wonder what role if any, she might have had in it,
Right.
and what impact her loss will have on the project.
It's all speculation, of course, but fans are definitely thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Her character, Dawn, she was such a key part of the the Buffy universe.
She was.
It would feel strange to reboot it without at least acknowledging her presence in that world.
Right, right. She brought such a unique dynamic. You know,
Yeah.
that sibling relationship with Buffy, the whole key element.
Right.
It'd be hard to just ignore that legacy.
It'll be interesting to see how the creators, how they choose to handle this, you know?
Yeah.
Do they address it directly or find some other way to honor her memory within the reboot?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. And speaking of honoring her memory, the tributes from her co-stars have been so touching.
They really have.
We talked about a few earlier, but I wanna dive a little deeper into what some of them have said, especially Blake Lively's post. It really captured who Michelle was beyond the character she played.
Yeah, it was so heartfelt, so genuine.
Blake talked about Michelle's laugh, how contagious it was, how loyal she was, and her ability to find humor even in tough situations.
Yeah.
You could feel the depth of their friendship, the sense of loss. It was palpable in her words.
And she also mentioned Michelle's dedication to her craft, her work ethic, her passion for storytelling.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about fame or recognition for Michelle. It was about the art of acting, the connection with the audience, the power of bringing those characters to life.
And that really gets to the heart of what we do here on the Deep Dive.
It does.
It's about exploring those layers, understanding the people behind the headlines, the stories beneath the surface.
Exactly. Exactly. And in Michelle's case, there's so much more to uncover than just her, on-screen persona.
Right.
She was a complex person with a wide range of experiences, a strong voice, and she really had a deep impact on the people who knew her.
And that impact went beyond her immediate circle. Think about her decision to speak out against Joss Whedon. That took so much courage, knowing the potential backlash, the power dynamics involved. It was risky, but it undoubtedly inspired others and contributed to a larger conversation about accountability and systemic change in Hollywood.
It's a reminder that even when you're scared or unsure, speaking your truth, it can have a ripple effect.
It can.
Creating positive change that goes way beyond your own experience.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a big part of Michelle's legacy.
It really is. And it's something we should all strive for, to use our voices, stand up for what we believe in, and challenge injustice wherever we see it.
Yeah.
Michelle's actions, they're a powerful example of how one person's courage can make a difference.
Absolutely. Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
We've talked about the image we project versus reality, the pressures of fame, the courage it takes to speak out, the legacy we leave behind. But in the middle of all that, there's also just the simple truth of a life cut short, a talent lost too soon.
It's a reminder to cherish the people in our lives, to appreciate every moment, and to really make the most of the time we have.
Michelle's passing, as tragic as it is, it also reminds us how precious life is and how important it is to live it to the fullest.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? It brings to mind one of Michelle's last Instagram posts, the one from her birthday last October.
Oh, yeah.
She shared a photo, she looked glamorous, and the caption was, 39 and feeling fi.
I remember that.
And knowing what we know now, it adds another layer, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's celebratory, full of life. But looking back, it also kind of shows how curated social media is.
Right.
The image we present versus, the reality.
Exactly. And for someone like Michelle, who grew up in the spotlight, that line between, the public persona and private reality, it must have been even more blurred. It makes you think about all the things she might have been going through that we'll never know about.
Right. And we talk about this a lot on the show, right?
Yeah, we do.
Media literacy, being able to really analyze the information we're taking in. And that applies to social media, too, big time.
It does.
We have to remember that what we see online, it's often a carefully constructed narrative, not necessarily the whole story.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder to be mindful of the assumptions we make about other people, celebrities or not.
Right.
We never really know what someone's going through.
So true. Now, switching gears a bit, I wanted to circle back to the timing of Michelle's passing and those Buffy reboot rumors.
Okay.
It's hard not to wonder if she was involved at all in any conversations, if she had any thoughts about revisiting that world.
Yeah, it's pure speculation at this point, but it's definitely something that fans are curious about.
I bet.
Her character, Dawn, She was such a big part of the Buffy universe, you know? It would feel strange to reboot the show without acknowledging her in some way.
Right, she brought such a unique element to the show, that sibling bond with Buffy, the whole key storyline.
Right, right.
It'd be hard to just ignore that legacy.
It'll be interesting to see how the creators, how they choose to handle this. So do they address it directly or find some other way to honor her memory within the reboot?
Yeah, and speaking of honoring her memory,
Uh,
the tributes from her co-stars, they've just been so moving.
they have.
We touched on a few earlier, but I wanted to kind of dig a little deeper into what some of them have said. Blake Lively's post, it really stood out to me. It really captured the essence of who Michelle was, beyond the characters.
It was a beautiful tribute, so heartfelt and genuine. Blake talked about Michelle's laugh, how contagious it was, and how loyal she was as a friend, and her ability to find humor, even in difficult situations.
Yeah.
You could really feel the depth of their friendship and just the huge sense of loss in her words.
He also talked about Michelle's, her dedication to acting, her work ethic, her passion for storytelling. For Michelle, it wasn't just about fame. It was about the art of it, the connection with the audience, the power of bringing those characters to life.
And that really speaks to the core of what we do here on the Deep Dive, right?
It does.
It's about exploring those layers, understanding the people behind the headlines, the stories beneath the surface.
Exactly, exactly. And in Michelle's case, there's so much more to her than just the character she played.
Of course.
She was a complex person with a wide range of experiences, a strong voice, and she had such a profound impact on everyone who knew her.
And that impact, it extended way beyond just her close friends, you know? Think about her decision to speak out against Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
That took immense courage, knowing the potential backlash, the power dynamics at play. It was a risk, but it inspired so many others, and it contributed to this much bigger conversation about accountability and systemic change in Hollywood.
It's a powerful reminder that even when it's scary or you're not sure speaking your truth, it can have this ripple effect,
It can.
creating positive change that goes way beyond your own experience.
Yeah.
And that's a crucial part of Michelle's legacy,
It is, and it's something we should all try to do, to use our voices, to stand up for what we believe in and challenge injustice wherever we see it.
Yeah.
Michelle's actions they're a powerful example of how one person's courage can really make a difference.
Yeah, it really makes you think. And it makes me think about Michelle's legacy and specifically the impact she had on young women, especially those who grew up watching her on shows like Buffy and Gossip Girl.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge part of her story.
For a whole generation of viewers, she represented strength, independence, a willingness to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
Her characters, even when they were flawed, even sometimes villainous, they were never, one-dimensional.
Right.
They resonated with people because they felt real.
They did.
Dawn Summers, especially, she was such a groundbreaking character.
She wasn't just the typical little sister you often see in teen dramas. She was complex, vulnerable, and in the end, a powerful force in her own right.
And Georgina Sparks, even with all her manipulative tendencies,
Right.
she was a fan favorite on Gossip Girl. Sharp, witty, and completely unapologetic about her ambition.
Oh, yeah.
She really challenged those conventions of what a female character could be, and people loved her for it.
They did.
And beyond her roles, Michelle's decision to speak out against Joss Whedon, that was a powerful statement, especially for young women,
It was.
showing them that it's okay to speak truth, to power, to challenge authority, to advocate for yourself, even when there might be consequences.
It was a bold move, and it undoubtedly inspired so many others to find their own voices, to stand up for what they believe in.
It's a legacy that goes beyond entertainment. It's
Right.
about, empowerment, resilience, and the courage to actually make a difference.
Absolutely, and that's worth celebrating.
It is. Michelle Trachtenberg's life and career might have been cut short, but her impact, it's going to continue to be felt for years to come.
I truly believe that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's remember Michelle for all that she was. A talented actress, a courageous advocate, and a vibrant soul who touched so many lives.
And for everyone listening, we encourage you to think about what resonated with you most about Michelle's story. What role, what performance will you remember her for? What lessons will you take with you? Because even though she's gone, her legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of everyone she touched.
And her story is a reminder to live authentically, to use our voices, and to really make the most of the time we have.